Andrew Stoll is a criminal defense and civil rights lawyer. He joins us now from New York City. Welcome to Al Jazeera. So what do you make of the grand jury's decision not to bring charges against Officer Pantaleo?
Well, the first thing to understand is it's not likely exactly the grand jury's decision. A grand jury's decision is usually foretold by the prosecutor who presents the evidence to the grand jury. They can pretty much direct the outcome that they want to see. So if the Staten Island district attorney wanted to see an indictment in this case, there would certainly be an indictment right now. And if he had even, I believe, even presented a neutral case, we'd be seeing an indictment right now. I think a really important thing for everybody to understand is that an indictment is just the beginning of the process. It's not the end. It's just a formal accusation. It just requires probable cause to believe a crime was committed, not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That comes at the very end of the process. And any police officer faced with the level of evidence that exists in this case, any police officer faced with that level of evidence on the street would certainly think he had probable cause to make an arrest. It's just probable cause. So it's a really disappointing and appalling decision. It's in part based on the district attorney's leading of the grand jury. It's in part based on the fact that the jurors themselves are not selected from a fair cross-section of our society. Felons, for example, in New York State are not allowed to vote and are not allowed to serve on a jury, and that's a surefire way to incrementally increase injustice as unjust laws just get caught in a feedback loop. So it's a really disappointing decision, but it's inspiring to see everybody on the street not agitating but educating. And when those people who are in power come to learn what it's like to live day to day out of power, I think we'll have a more just system.
Hey, Andrew, the U.S. Justice Department says it will investigate Eric Garner's death. How will that investigation differ from what happened with the grand jury?
Well, it would be a great step. The important thing to understand is that the federal jurisdiction is much broader than just Staten Island, and also, of course, the federal authorities aren't politically beholden just to the citizens of Staten Island. The Staten Island district attorney owes his position in large part to the PBA, the police union. There are tons and tons of police officers who call Staten Island their home, and so he really feels beholden to that community, I believe. But the U.S. attorney doesn't have such an allegiance, and also the jurors in a proceeding, a federal proceeding, are drawn from a much broader geographical range. So I remain optimistic. We have a history, somewhat of a recent history in the last 20 years in this city of injustices being set right by the federal government, and I would hope that would happen again here.
Andrew, thanks for speaking to us. Andrew Stoll is a criminal defense and civil rights lawyer.